Former federal prosecutor Hans von Spakovsky is now with Heritage Foundation, and former federal prosecutor Andrew Cherkasky. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Hans, what's your reaction to this? Hunter Biden's lawyer reportedly sent a letter demanding the Treasury Inspector General probe former Trump aide Garrett Ziegler for allegedly publicizing the Biden family's suspicious activity reports about their deal-making on the internet. And now they're also demanding, the lawyers demanding Congress do an ethics probe of Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene over her comments about Hunter Biden and the president. This is ahead of the DOJ supposedly sitting down with Hunter Biden over his tax evasion case that's been out there for 5 years. What's your take on the Hunter Biden lawyers doing this?
I think this is all a public relations gambit. He's trying to distract attention from the potentially very serious violations of the law committed by his client, and the fact that we now have a senior IRS supervisory agent, a whistleblower, saying that there's been politics involved in preventing a real investigation and interfering with the investigation of Hunter Biden. That is something that has to be investigated, looked at, and I think he's just trying to distract attention from that.
Andrew, yeah, to what Hans just said, Andrew, we're hearing sources saying this is an obstruction of justice issue at the Justice Department. The IRS whistleblower, he's a top IRS agent, has memos, emails, contemporaneous notes of meetings with DOJ prosecutors accused of stonewalling the Hunter Biden tax evasion case to basically help President Biden.
Well, we have so many different things to unravel when we're talking about Hunter Biden. We first have to talk about, obviously, the potential charges that Hunter Biden is going to be facing, but we also have to talk about the number of other potential investigations that need to go on about leaked information, as was talked about earlier by Mike Huckabee even. The idea that we're looking at the wide range of failures to prosecute effectively is something that I think a special counsel is needed for, because the Attorney General there in Delaware, Mr. Weiss, is not going to be able to investigate all of these different things and issue referrals to them. So we are lacking at this point.
So what Andrew just said, IRS whistleblower in his lawyer's letter says AG Garland, Hans, is denying DOJ prosecutor David Weiss, who's been on the Hunter Biden case at the Justice Department, denying Weiss's request for a special counsel on the Hunter Biden case. At least two DOJ prosecutors politically interfering to protect the president. Yet Biden's Treasury Department accused of stonewalling House oversight on the suspicious activity reports. Then you have former top CIA official Mike Morrell saying, yeah, Antony Blinken, out of the Biden campaign in 2020, called me, and we got the ball rolling on the letter of 51 intelligence officials claiming without any proof Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation.
Well, as Andrew said, I mean, it's hard to keep track of all the potential issues here, potential violations of the law, unethical conduct. I mean, just that last one. Look, others have said this, but every single one of those former intelligence officials should lose their security clearance. They did no due diligence whatsoever. They clearly were engaging in partisan political activity and using their reputations as intelligence officials for that purpose. No one who's willing to abuse that kind of a position should have access to classified materials.
So Hans, excuse me, Andrew, what Hans just said, and it also goes to the FBI and other agencies accused of stepping into social media, telling Twitter to basically there's going to be a disinformation dump about Hunter Biden. So Twitter then censors, before the 2020 election. The FBI had the Hunter Biden laptop for nearly a year before the New York Post story dropped. And then, so now you have critics are saying 2 straight elections. A Democrat candidate and their campaigns generated false claims about Russia. It was 2016 and now 2020, Andrew.
And we don't have a good investigator point of contact, so to speak, who's looking into this. Again, I was saying that the U.S. attorney in Delaware is handling the tax evasion and potentially gun-related charges, but it's very unclear whether he has the scope of an investigation to cover the wide range of people who engaged in what I think is very potentially criminal behavior in issuing essentially these warnings to Twitter and other social media outlets to not run these stories and that it was disinformation. So when we have this long list of potential violations, and that's to say nothing of Hunter Biden's potential violation of the failure to register as a foreign agent. We have such a wide range. We have Mr. Weiss, who seems to have a very limited scope. Again, a special counsel would be something that would be very appropriate in this case.
And also, it's New York Times, Washington Post, CNN, NBC, CBS authenticating the Hunter Biden laptop, Hans.
Right.
But then, you know, and Hunter Biden himself, his lawyers effectively authenticated that the laptop is real. So what do you make of Biden in 2020 adamantly saying it's Russian disinformation? He had to know it was real. How can he go before voters and say it was Russian disinformation and accuse a foreign nation of meddling in an election like that about his son's laptop? This is shocking stuff.
Well, yeah, but it says that he was willing to say anything, no matter how untrue and how misleading, in order to win that election. And the media, the mainstream media, was complacent in helping him do that.
Hans von Spakovsky, Andrew Cherkasky, thanks for joining us tonight. We'll have you back on again soon.